voices cry. See the storyteller and Doc are my ride or die. Together in this mission, never questioning why we try. The system's got its blindfold. Justice wears a mask, telling the truth is our mission. It's all we ever ask. We're the ones who won't stay silent when the system pretends. Silence is betrayal. If you see something, say something, friends. Charging through the wilderness, exposing all their crimes. Truth seekers and justice warriors, breaking silence every time. Wilderness of injustice, stretching far and wide. Predators keep hunting while the system looks away. But we've got our community of truth seekers, justice warriors, and trial junkies with us. Ride or die together until we reach the bitter end. We're the ones who won't stay silent when the system pretends. Silence is betrayal. If you see something, say something, friends. Charging through the wilderness, exposing all their crimes. Truth seekers and justice warriors, breaking silence every time. Every bump and pothole on this rough road, every broken promise, every heavy load won't stop us from speaking what needs to be heard. Every single victim deserves to have their voice heard. We're the ones who won't stay silent when the system pretends. Silence is betrayal. If you see something, say something, friend. Charging through the wilderness, exposing all their crimes. Truth seekers and justice warriors, breaking silence every time. Truth seekers stay in the darkness until the truth is revealed. Every killer relies on your silence to hide. Don't be the reason stories go unheard. If you see or know something, speak up and make it known. Because there wasn't a mannequin, we all know. My ride or die, Doc and I will never stop. Exposing predators who hunt in the darkness of the night. But we can't do it alone, we need you to care. Join the movement and show the world that you're there. We bring light to darkness in this wilderness of pain. Together we ensure no story remains buried. No victim is forgotten and no killer goes free. The spotlight cuts through the darkness for the entire world to see. Truth seekers who refuse to let corruption hide. Justice warriors fighting for those who can't fight. We champion the victims and their surviving families. The conspiracy of silence is being shattered by sharing the stories remaining for justice warriors and trial junkies. The conspiracy of silence is exposed. All truth seekers, justice warriors, and trial junkies. Let's shine that spotlight on the injustice.
Live on the air, it's Trial Junkies United with your host, Z. Huh? That doesn't tell me anything. What broke? They can't hear you. Oh, I know what the problem is. You didn't hit the button. Well,
Oh,
there you go.
okay. Can everybody hear me now? Hey, Arctic Fox, good to see you. Like I said, unless I'm late, you wouldn't know it was me. So surprise, I made it. Can everybody hear me now? I hope. Okay. Let's see. Give me a 1 if you can hear me. Isn't Cartoon Moo cute? Real Moo's
I think
cute too.
that's really, really
good.
neat looking.
I got some 1 so people can hear me.
Great.
Okay, guys, I'm a little discombobulated tonight, but we're going for it because this is a story we have to tell. So, greetings to the truth seekers and our justice warriors. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice. My ride or die doc is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt, the system fails. What do you think, Doc? Are you ready to ride?
I am always ready.
Yes.
Yes.
Irish Amy, thank you very much. I think I can pull off a red. They say blondes have more fun, but redheads are wicked.
Yes, I agree with that.
And brunettes are deadly, so watch out. Ooh. Active Amber Alert out of California, Arctic Fox is letting us know.
Ooh,
hey,
okay.
Lazy River showed up. Yay, glad you're here. We've missed ya. Arctic Fox, give us some deets on that Amber Alert. Okay, we're ready to shine the light on the forgotten stories society would rather leave buried. So buckle up, you guys. The path ahead grows bumpy, and we're going to lead you through another section of the nightmare they call our justice system. So first of all, what happens when a wise, successful father disappears and the police dismiss it as a voluntary missing person? Until 47 days later, what happens when suspects with extensive criminal histories, you guys, are repeatedly released on bond to commit even more violent crimes? Tonight, we're going to examine how systematic failures across multiple jurisdictions may have sealed the fate of Ronald Dumas Jr. Ronald was an award-winning realtor. He also was a full-time chemist. Hey, Hellcat, thanks for just popping in to see us. He was a devoted father to 3 children. He had an older son with, I'm not sure if they were married, but anyway, he had an older son with one woman, and then his last 2 young girls were by his ex-partner, Talia Berryhill. And the interesting thing, let me
we
tell
had
you,
a moose sighting.
we had a moose sighting. Oh, let's just hope it's a good one. But let me tell you about this family, because even though Ronald and his partners were no longer together, they still hung out. And they hung out with their significant others and all the children. Talia said that they would get together on weekends and, watch shows. And they just absolutely didn't have a problem. You see the 2 women in the front. Those were his former partners. The one was the mother of the little boy, and the other one had the 2 little girls. And they had new partners, but it didn't matter. They blended their family the best that they could for the children, which when you can do that, that is the best thing ever for your children. I know sometimes it's hard, but if you can, that's the way to go. And they were all mature adults in handling the situation. Um, Ronald would always pick his daughters up every Friday for the weekend visits. He didn't have a problem with that. He was staying with Byron Pello. Now, this was a longtime friend of his that he even knew before he went to college. So they had been buddies for a long time. But he was trying to save up to buy a house. So he was hanging with his friend Byron. And he was really described by all of his friends as a family guy, reliable, really family focused, community oriented. Yeah. Byron's a big boy.
Mhm.
He's a big dude, but very sweet and kind. I listened to some of his interviews, and he really is worried about Ronald. They all are. They're very concerned. Um, but December 15th, 2024, this is going to be the last day that people hear from Ronald. There was a minor disagreement when Talia went to pick up the 2 little girls because she said she was late. She goes, I didn't apologize when I came back, which is something I would have normally done. But she said he kind of irritated me. So we irritated one another. We were just shorting our words. So we spoke, and I was like, all right, bye. You have a good day. And he's like, all right. But she said he kissed the kids. Everybody left. She really described it as just, co-parenting with each other, because nobody's perfect. And you get short in your words, and you just have a little spat. But she said we were both, curt with each other. No one was doing anything bad. And she said the disagreement was over her being late. And, that happens. And if someone's got plans, it gets irritating. But she admitted, even though she had gotten annoyed with him, the disagreement resolved quickly. Robert kissed the children goodbye. Normally, both parties moved on immediately. It wasn't like there was a long, drawn out thing. Okay. And according to the documents, Dumas, or Ronald, actually had a little tiff with his roommate, Byron, over just house stuff. You know how it is when you have a roommate and you're not used to having a roommate, or you've had one before and all this. Okay, we got a new roommate. So they kind of got into a little argument, but Byron said it was over really quick. And he said, Ronald was like, okay, cool. I'm sorry, And he's like, yeah, no problem. And so then he said that Ronald said, I'm fixing to go out and get me something to eat and a little drink or something and then I'm going to come back. He said it was just normal. Like he was going to relax, go out and get a drink, have some food, and no big deal. So we have the 2 incidences that day on the 15th, but none of them were, like huge, oh my goodness, we're having a fight. It wasn't like that. So his friends and roommate also explained that that day or that night, he fell asleep on the couch. And he said, I would have known if Ronnie came home because he said, I would have heard the key in the door and I would have woken up. So when I woke up and I knew he hadn't gotten home, I started calling everybody. Hey, have you heard from Ronnie? Have you heard from Ronnie? Have you? And nobody heard from him. Talia hadn't heard from him. She says, when we all got to talking and realized nobody heard from him, we got concerned. So they decided, by the 17th, so it was just, 2 days later, they actually reported him missing to the police. Now, as we all know, the police jumped in and went looking for him. No.
Immediately, just immediately. Oh,
Yeah, no. The police theory, we love when they have theories, don't we?
mhm.
They had a theory. He just left to start a new life somewhere else without taking clothes or anything, just drove away into the sunset.
Just got fed up with being a successful dad and
Yeah.
having a successful career. And
He had 2 careers.
yeah,
He was a realtor and a chemist. I mean, this guy was smart. And his family pushed back immediately because they knew it was impossible. Because they said, number one, Rodney would never abandon his children. There was no bank, credit card, or social media activity. Nothing. And so what were they hearing? Crickets. Just crickets. So what did they do? They hired this gentleman. This is James Andrews. He's a former police officer turned private investigator. And he found out that actually Ronnie's car, because this is in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, guys? Well, his car gets found abandoned the day after on the 16th of December. Guess where it was? It was in Tennessee. It was blocking a travel lane on I-40, 100 miles away from where he had disappeared from. That's a long ways. Now, eventually, Andrews, they got the phone tracking. It showed movement toward Memphis, and then the phone went dark. Now, the family said he had no friends, he had no family connections in Tennessee area where the car was found. So right then, they're like, this is wrong. We got to do something. Because the phone goes dark. The car is blocking. I mean, whoever dropped the car off, they put it in traffic, blocking traffic on I-40. Like, that was brilliant. Hey, Chris.
on the interstate itself.
Yeah, that's what it. Here's the map. It shows where the vehicle was located.
Oh,
And it's just like, really? So then the private investigator, he goes and he starts looking and looking, trying to find out where Ronnie had been, what had happened before he left Alabama. Well, what he discovers is actual surveillance footage. And it's the last time Ronnie is seen. Of course, the family went right to where the car was located and they started to search. These people were serious. They loved Ronnie. They wanted him home. So they went to Tennessee to look for Ronnie. But the private investigator, he actually had gone around, I guess, following the phone data and was able to find some surveillance footage. This surveillance footage is at a liquor store there locally in Alabama. He walks in and 2 unknown women follow him in. Okay. And when they follow him in, none of his friends, when they see the footage, can identify either one of these women. They don't know who they are. Okay. They have no clue. So you see Ronnie, you kind of see one woman and then you see the other woman. There was 2 of them. They were very relaxed. They were calm. Ronnie pays for the purchases that they made of liquor, and then everybody leaves. Now, as they're walking out the door, Ronnie takes a call, and it's his friend Chris. Okay. Well, Chris was across the street at this place that serves food, and I think they have games that you can play, you know. And so he told him, he says, I'll be right over. So, you know, that's interesting. He leaves the liquor store with these two women, and then he's like, I'm coming right over, because this place was right across the street.
What was the name of that? There's something in Buster. It's a gaming.
Dave and Buster's? Is that what it is? I don't know. There's a
I can't
picture, but
remember.
you can't really see it well. But, you know, so this is where they're going to go hang out, but he doesn't get there. So the investigation starts looking into who are these two women. So the private investigator finally identifies them. Okay. And he found that he was going to actually travel to see one of them. Her name was Kierra McKinney. And that day, as he was looking through the paper, he finds she died of a drug overdose. She was one of the women that was in the liquor store with Rodney. And now she's deceased. These are the two women. This is Kierra McKinney, and the other girl is Sabrina Chambers. They were the two women in that liquor store with Rodney. But Kierra in the gray hoodie is deceased. Dave and Buster's, right, Chris?
Dave and Buster's. Yeah.
Now, it had been 47 days since Rodney had disappeared.
You mean Ronnie?
Ronnie had disappeared. They finally, after 47 days, the police decided to say it was a kidnapping, an abduction. It took them that long to figure out this wasn't normal. Something was wrong. Because, you know, you don't walk out of a place saying you're going across the street to meet a friend and not show up. But the PI is the one that found all this information. Remember that. So now we have some interesting people to look into. Here is Kierra McKinney. Now, she had been arrested back in 2023 with these three people. Well, two of them. The guy in the green, they caught him later. But Kierra here was with these gentlemen, and they had picked up someone, and they were going to he was going to give him a ride. He was going to take him back to Memphis, right? Okay, that's great. Take us to Memphis. That's where we want to go. Well, what they did was they actually beat the man up, stole his stuff, and decided that, you know, they were going to dump him somewhere and take off. Okay, so Kierra has a history of doing this kind of thing. And so she's not really, you know, it's sad that she's passed away, but there have been rumors that she was actually going to talk about some of the others. So you have this violent history that she has where she's willing to pick somebody up and steal their stuff and beat them up with these guys. And now she's hanging out with some new people because she got out of jail with a bond. Most all these people you're going to find were bonded out. And that's where it's just a huge crime, you guys, that these people were not where they were. Now, what the police are going to say was that Ronald had picked up these two women and they were prostitutes, and they were having a 2-for-1 special. So even though they were saying he might have been abducted, they're still trying to ruin his name. We don't know if that's what happened. We don't know if he met these women in the parking lot. Nobody knows who these women are. None of his friends know. They don't know how he met them at all, right? So, I mean, they could have even asked him out in the parking lot. They saw he drove a nice car and say, hey, can you buy us, some booze? We're short. We don't know. We don't know the story. So these women track back to the rest of these people. And this is Sabrina Chambers, which is one of the women that was in there with him, Carissa Cash, Torrey McLaren, Quintarius White, and Kierra Clark. These are bad people, you guys. These are just evil people. And let's start with Cue Ball there. I'm just going to call him Cue Ball. In May of 2023, he actually was charged with kidnapping a mother and her infant. Her baby was a month old, you guys. She was staying in a motel, and he broke into the motel with 3 women. One of them was Kierra Clark. Kierra Clark was his girlfriend. Now, they have captured 2 of them for Ronald. They've captured Cue Ball, and they captured Crazy Kierra. So they've been arrested. But their charges are horrid because Cue Ball here is actually out. He was out on bail with 10 felony charges: aggravated kidnapping, multiple counts, trafficking for sex, aggravated assault, burglary, robbery. He's a convicted felon, and he was in possession of a firearm. He was out on only a $5,000 bond when Ronald disappeared. Yeah. And like I said, he has a history of trafficking people. This woman that him and these 3 other women had broken in, and they had told the woman that they were taking her and the baby. And when she tried to tell him no, he had the 3 women beat her up. And then they took her and the baby to another hotel. Oh, we'll get to that, Surf Girl. But these were the people that he had, these 3 women. And they took the woman to another hotel, and they proceeded to sex traffic her. And any money she earned, they gave it to Cue Ball. And this other guy in the corner was his other partner. And that's what these people did. They would kidnap people and put them in the sex trade and abuse them and put them out there and take their money. Well, this woman fortunately was able to get to a phone and get some help after they had harmed her. So that's what they were out on, okay? These were the charges they had. And Crazy Kierra, who was 27, she also had a pattern of human trafficking because, she was Cue Ball's girl. And so in June of 2023, she was charged the same as Cue Ball for the kidnapping and sex trafficking of the mother and the child, and multiple felony charges. And she was out on $80,000 bond during this kidnapping. So he got out on $5,000, which I'm trying to figure that one out. But anyway, okay, so you wanted to know who these other people were. These other people were the people that were hiding them. So those 3 got arrested for harboring criminals. And I think they're still in jail. I tried to find out if they were released on bond, and I haven't seen anything. So their current status in Alabama is Cue Ball should be coming back to Alabama soon. They've already sent Crazy Kierra So those are the two that they have arrested that were part of Ronnie's kidnapping. These three were just arrested for harboring the other two. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on here. And at one point, Crazy Kierra, or then we have the three that are still missing. So there's three of them that still haven't been caught. And one of them is Tor McLaren, who's 33. And he was arrested in 2016 for kidnapping, robbery, and aggravated kidnapping because he picked a woman up online and then proceeded to attack her and rob her. I mean, these are just really nice people. This is cue ball when he got arrested when he was young. Yeah, he has an
Just
extensive
wonderful
career.
looking, upstanding citizens.
He is. Once you start hearing his history, you're just like, ugh, and then you have Ronnie, who's just like a parent and has two careers and is an awesome person. So we got Crazy Kierra and cue ball here. We got him in jail. Yay. That's the good part. Now, Sabrina was the other girl that was in the liquor store. Okay. And as you can see, she's got all sorts of charges too, different aliases that she used. And she also has a history of stealing, first-degree kidnapping charges, because that's what they really had a gang that did this. And this is what they would do to people. And then Carissa Cash, the other woman that's still at large, she was the one that had stolen property. She's the one that when they raided her house, they found Ronnie's phone. Now, this is where the horrifying evidence comes in, because here's Tor and we'll just call him Ugly T and Crazy Girl. So Crazy Girl and Ugly T are still on the run. And Crazy Girl is the one that had Ronnie's phone. And on the phone, they found text messages from Clark and White discussing that the women had a guy, he's got money in the bank. And how they knew he had $7,000 in the bank, nobody knows. But Clark allegedly texted to cue ball telling him ways that they could torture Ronnie to get money from him. And they were really explicit texts. Talking about taking his teeth out with pliers and some other really disturbing things that you don't need to have in your brain. I'll keep them in mind so you don't have to. So they were going to torture him to get his money. Now, before, when Kalisha had done this with those other guys, they let that person go. Well, they don't think, oh, how did I get there already? We'll go back. So, anywho, yeah, my pictures are messed up this time, guys. Sorry about that, but I was running late. So just bear with me. We'll get this story because Ronnie's story needs to be told because his family is still searching for him. So when Kalisha had done this before, they had let the guy go. These guys, the family's pretty sure that Ronnie's no longer with us. But they still want to find him and bring him home, if at all possible. And if there is a chance he's still alive, they want to bring him home. The thing is with Kalisha, they said that they think they're not sure she OD'd on her own, because they said she might have actually made the comment sometime to, or in text, that she was going to tell on cue ball. Cue ball's going to come back to Alabama because that's where Ronnie disappeared from. So right now they have the authority on the case because they haven't found him. But that's a good question, Chris. So right now they're all coming back. They're, bringing him to Alabama because right now this is where the case is in Alabama, even though his car was found in Tennessee, because they're not sure where he is. Somewhere between Alabama and Tennessee, there's 100 miles in there. They don't know. His phone was tracked by the FBI. And so that's how they kind of are trying to locate a location to start looking, for where he could have been. Cue Ball actually was the pimp for these girls, so he was the one that was sending him out there to do these things and to get people and steal from them and harm them. So it was really organized crime. I mean, this is really a gang that has this history of doing these hideous things to people. I mean, this dude, Terrible T here, he had, that poor girl that he got a hold of online dating. I mean, she went to meet him for her first meetup. And before she could even, get out of the car, he got in, had a weapon, drug her off somewhere, started taking her clothes, wanting, her banking information. They have a system and they keep letting them go in Tennessee. I mean, that's the thing. Alabama, they could have cared less about Ronnie at first. Tennessee, they're just letting people right. I mean, these people are career criminals and they're just getting worse and worse. Now, there has to be people in the Memphis area, because that's where most of them are from, that know these people and are hiding them like those other three. So let's hope they never let them out, because this is ridiculous. But with Terrible T, he had the one incident in 2016 with the girl that he got on the dating site with. And then in 2019, that was the one where he actually had, let me back up here. Yeah, that was a carjacking and a robbery with firearms charges.
So
And
is the thought process is that Ronnie just walked into a bad situation and
that Ronnie was just a nice guy that either
got taken advantage of and then then got involved with this ring that
had evil intent.
Yeah. Okay.
That's their whole setup.
Mm-hmm.
Is they set these girls up to date guys and then rob them, and steal things. And so they need to find him, and now Sabrina Chambers, the other girl that was in the liquor store with Rodney, her family had actually put out a missing persons report before they knew who she was, because she had disappeared. And she's still at large, and she's on there. They want her for first-degree kidnapping charges. But her grandmother said that she has had weird phone calls where nobody says anything. She's had rent applications come in from California and Florida with Sabrina's name on it. So I don't know if they're trying to say that she's, on the run looking, because why on earth would you be sending out rent applications and having them come to your home? That something there doesn't make sense. They did say that there was a time when she got one weird phone call where she heard someone say goodbye. So I don't know if somebody is cleaning up their mess that they made by getting rid of the girls. We don't know. We have no idea. But like her grandmother said, we want to find her. She goes, if she did something wrong and she needs to go to jail, then she needs to go to jail. So at least her grandmother's not trying to, say that it's a situation where she's backing her granddaughter. She's like, if she's done this, then she needs to face the authorities. Now, crazy girl here, Carissa Cash, they've got her for receiving stolen property because she wasn't in Alabama at the time. So, that's a situation where she just had some Irani stuff. And so that's why they're after her. So they have the evidence of these text messages revealing a torture plot. Court documents, have stated the terrible things they say. They still would like to know how on earth these girls knew he had $7,000 in the bank. Because I'm sorry, I don't care guys don't go around going, hey, guess how much I have in my bank account? I mean, Doc, would you tell anybody how much you had in your bank account?
No, but I'm just wondering if this was during one of the, let's just say, torture events.
Well, no, this is before they took him.
Okay.
This is
so they already knew.
Yeah, they're saying we got a guy and he's got money in the bank. So they're trying to figure out how did you know? Could they have followed him to the bank? I don't know. Could they have found one of his receipts from the bank? Because it's been so long since I've done that ATM thing. Does it give you a total on what's in your bank account?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I haven't been through one in a long time either, but I mean,
that's what happens when you bank online.
That's right.
You don't do the ATM thing. But, like I said, Clark allegedly was texting ways to torture Ronnie. It was just disgusting. These people are just evil. And if Tennessee would have kept him in jail, give him higher bonds, they wouldn't have been out there. And that's what Ronnie's father said. Is, if they had really done their job in Tennessee, they wouldn't have been in Alabama to get Rodney. And, he just came across the wrong people at the wrong time. And I think it's terrible that they're trying to, say that, he was hooking up with the women. We don't know. He may have. Hey, he was a single guy. Okay. That was his business. But to put it out there like that, I just I'm trying to think of where they decide, is that the same place they got, he went out to, start a new life all over? I have problems with them. So
Surf Girl, you're saying that the receipt does have.
Okay. So maybe that's it. Maybe they found his receipt. I don't know.
Well, if I remember correctly, the last time I was through the ATM, it actually asked me if I wanted a receipt or not. So some people probably don't get a receipt, thus nobody else would find out,
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Yeah, I agree, Chris, that there are people that brag about their money, but this is a man that was a professional. He was a realtor, an award-winning realtor. He was a chemist. He was the father of 3 children.
He just doesn't fit the bill, I don't think.
Yeah, he doesn't fit the bill of going around, hey, I got some, and plus that, someone going, hey, I got $7,000. To some of us, that's a lot of money. But to a lot of us, it's not.
Well, to a ring like that, I mean, $7,000 is notable, but it's not like it's an outstanding amount of money,
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it's not like they kept his car and they didn't sell his car; they dumped it. So that just it makes you wonder. But if Memphis, Tennessee had prosecuted these people correctly on that May 2023 kidnapping and the sex trafficking charges, come on, Ronnie would still be here. White and Clark, committing those kidnappings, the bond $5,000 for him, and he was a career criminal for cue ball, and she had an $80,000 bond. And I'm trying to figure, where did she get this? Come on.
If they say an $80,000 bond, it's usually only what they got to come up with 10% or something like that. So
Yeah, that's true. But I'm trying to figure out how come his was set so low. I mean, that judge should be off the bench. If you give a man like Cue Ball a $5,000 bond, it's time to get a new job. And I hear Walmart might be hiring as a greeter
well,
because you're a terrible judge.
This wasn't Cue Ball's first rodeo either. So I mean,
No, he has a long criminal history. So it's like, please, you got to quit letting the criminals out. Surf Girl, you're right. 7K buys a lot of happy drugs. That it does. It does. But these people were free out on bond. You know, nobody was having them check in, nothing. You know, if you're going to give someone that low of bond, put a monitor on them. I don't care. They were on charges of sex trafficking a woman that had just had a baby. That is just cruel. So in December of 2024, while on bond, they kidnap and torture Ronald Dumas. In April of 2025, they finally get arrested, but they're still trying to find where the other three are. Crazy Clark, she was held without bond because of the evidence they were able to provide. So there's no way she's getting out.
And nobody has really spilled their guts yet.
No. They're hoping now that she just got transferred back to Alabama. They're hoping maybe she will start spilling her guts. For some reason, Cue Ball's extradition process is slower. I don't know why. So it's taking a little bit longer to get him through. The family is offering a $7,500 reward, and they're trying to increase that. They've put billboards up in the Memphis area because they want to target that community, because 4 out of the 5 suspects had roots in that community. That's where they come from. The private investigator, he said he's working on leads, but this is 8 months without getting answers. 3 little kids wanting to know where their daddy is. The family's trying to maintain their hope, but they're prepared for the worst. But the criticism for law enforcement, I'm sorry, they flubbed. They flubbed big time.
Well, when you stop and think about it, when we were wasn't it when we were talking to Cola that she had made mention of the fact that the law enforcement officers don't like reading stuff.
Yeah.
So the shorter the better. And maybe Cue Ball has such a long rap sheet, that it gets.
They went to sleep.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be that they're finding stuff out about him left and right, and they don't want to let him go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where they know they messed up.
Yeah.
And they're probably trying to figure out a way that they can persecute him over there instead of sending their mistake over to Alabama. But I don't think they're going to win that one because, I think with 4 of the 5 suspects that are from the Memphis area, okay, there are family, there are friends that need to be talked to. Every person that they've committed crimes with, they need to be talked to. Because at this point, I'm not sure any of them are in jail. I don't know what's going on in Memphis. Well,
it seems to be the place to be if you're a criminal. The real world doesn't run like Law and Order. So, it's just things get lost. Yeah.
You're right about that, Doc.
And there's the police officers are overwhelmed and they don't, a lot of things slide under the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the violent offenders out there kidnapping histories, just going crazy. There's got to be some accountability though, because someone needs to answer for so many mistakes.
Mhm.
You know, you have a missing person. I am so tired of having to do stories where we have to say the cops are telling them the lie. Oh, you got to wait 24 to 48 hours, you know. Oh, they just went out drinking, they'll be home. They're shacked up with someone, they'll be home. Oh, they went to start a new life. Your car says on the side to serve and protect. I don't care if someone does leave voluntarily. If you get a missing persons report, you're supposed to investigate. If they've left voluntarily and you find them and they say, I want to be gone, normally they're supposed to then let the family know, hey, John Doe wants to be gone. We have connected with him, and that's all we can tell you. Okay. But you don't leave families hanging. And there was evidence something was wrong because this was a man who had a history in his community, that had a routine, and things weren't going right. And you're right, Surf Girl. Their investigation, they really didn't do anything. I think once the private investigator started finding stuff, and he was a former cop, but he started finding stuff, and all of a sudden they got their bums in gear. Don't you love Crazy Girl's hair? I haven't tried blue yet. That might be on my next rotation. Who knows? I like different colors. So Huntsville is actually developing a pattern of delaying their responses. So I'm looking at another case in Huntsville that it's the same situation. A young Black man disappeared, and he disappeared in July. He's still missing. No answers for the family. Human trafficking is an organized criminal enterprise spanning multiple states. People that don't think human trafficking is real, get a grip. It is. It's not like Taken the movie. Liam Neeson is not here with his special skill set. They're not getting picked up and thrown into vans. There are women and men that are pushing people into trafficking. So it's a situation where, come on, people, you have to realize this is a real crime. This isn't a novel. It's not a TV movie. We hear cases constantly. I mean, you would think the Epstein case is one of the biggest cases everybody's talking about. It's real. It's not a hoax. People are being trafficked. They're being trafficked by friends, loved ones, family members, the fake boyfriend routine. There are so many. I mean, the one woman, she was kidnapped from her motel, by these people. So it's a situation where, come on, you have to realize this is happening. Putting our heads in the sand like the ostrich is not going to help. We have to realize this is a real crime. It's violent. People get scarred for life. And it's horrendous. Jurisdictions have got to start working together. I mean, it doesn't matter who gets the kudos. Get the criminal. Save the person. Dating apps and websites, I'm sorry, you guys, that is just a predator's hunting ground anymore. There is no way I would have ever got on one of those. Ever. Mm-mm.
If you successfully met a match, and it's just you won the lottery.
Yeah. And there are those people that do. It works. But it's, you hear horror stories. Women that get ripped off by, guys that take all their money. Women that do the same thing. Don't let me say that they don't. There's women that are just as criminally minded as men. In Memphis, what are you doing with the low bonds and just letting people roam around free when they're such long-term criminals? I mean, this is just terrible.
It just sounds like with the low bonds, they aren't coming up with, sticking with the times. They
Yeah.
the $80,000. That was a bond back in the 1970s or 80s, not now.
Yeah. And, like Kalisha McKinney, okay, she was found dead from an overdose. But was it something she did herself? Doc, you okay in there? Don't choke out on me, dear. Take a drink of water. But was Kalisha, did she do it to herself or was she silenced? Is that how they silenced her because they were afraid she was going to talk?
Well, it sounds like that's what happened. It's a ring, and if they're worried about somebody squealing, then you're not going to last long.
Yeah. So if people have tips, they say call 256-47-5485 or 256-532-7463. If anybody has seen any of these people, please call in. But we got to advocate for stronger prosecution of violent crimes because they've got to stop being able to just get right back on the street. This is ridiculous. But let's go to our missing persons people. We have Denny Ray Poole. He's 14 when he disappeared. He disappeared back in 2016 of March 12th. So he actually would be 23 now. He was 5'7". He weighed 120 to 130 pounds. He had black hair and brown eyes. He was a First Nations. He was last seen at Dawson Creek, British Columbia, Canada. And it said he and a friend were attempting to walk from Fort St. John, and he became lost, and they didn't arrive. His friend made it back safely, but Denny did not. He was last seen approximately 1 kilometer south of Kiskatani River Bridge. And they said, if anyone has information, contact the Dawson Creek RCMP at 250-784-3700 or Crime Stoppers, where you can do it anonymous. Love you, fella. Get some sleep, honey, at 1-800-222-TIPS. And that one I have questions. If the one guy made it home and the other not, I'm worried.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. The next girl is Julissa Moses. She's 14. She went missing on August 26th of 2025. So she was last seen at the Muckleshoot Indian Reservation in Washington State at 172nd Court East in Auburn, Washington. She's only 4'11" and 100 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. If you've seen her, contact 911. The reference number is 250-6965. She's a tiny little thing, and she's only 14. Let's get her home. Then we have Leah Black. She's 16. She's been missing since August 28th, 2025, from Colorado Springs, Colorado. She was seen at 1:20 p.m. leaving the 2200 block of East LaSalle Street. She may be headed to Palmer Park, which is located at 3344 Paso Road in Colorado Springs. She's 5'8", 120 pounds, long brown hair and green eyes. She was seen wearing a black shirt and black pants. So if anyone's seen Leah or you know where she might be, contact the Colorado Springs Police Department at 719-444-7000. Remember, harboring minors, it's against the law. So if someone's come to you and they're hiding from their parents or loved ones, go ahead and call the cops. If there's a reason, let the cops know, but don't hide them. It's not good. Next, from Pinedale, New Mexico, we have Shandon Zoll Norfleet. She's 13. She was last seen on September 5th, 2025 at approximately 11:30 p.m. at her residence. They say she was doing dishes. She's only 5 foot tall, 110 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. She was wearing a maroon t-shirt and blue jeans. Contact 911 or the Navajo Police Department at Ground Point District, 505-786-2050 or 505-786-2051. Remember, missing children go missing for many reasons, but every missing child is considered at risk and in danger until they are safely located. Every alert on a child should be taken seriously. This next one is actually a special request because I mostly do Native and Indigenous First Nations. But Chris Gideon asked me to put up Brandy Lauren White. She's 37 from Mount Olive, Mississippi. She went missing on August 20th at 2025. Hey, Rev. She's 5'3". She weighs 130 pounds. She has brown hair. In some of the pictures, it looks kind of blonde to me, but her eyes are blue. In the early morning hours of the 20th, it was 3 a.m., she was seen on William Warren Road in Covington County, Mississippi. So the Covington County Sheriff's Department is handling this, and their number is 601-765-8281. She had no purse. She had no shoes. She didn't have her phone or her Apple Watch. She hasn't talked to anybody. There are no sightings or leads. My question is, who saw her at 3 a.m. and did they stop and offer to help her? Because if you see someone walking at 3 a.m. and they're not wearing shoes, I would think you would kind of say, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I assist you in some way?" Just a thought. So remember, you guys, when you're out and about, put the cell phone down, pay attention around you, because you don't know when you could help locate someone that's missing. It doesn't matter if they left voluntarily or not. Staying alert, we could save a life. So just remember, Ronald Dumas was a father, a professional, a man with everything to live for, you guys. And the evidence suggests that if the system had worked as it should have, if the violent criminals had properly been prosecuted and held accountable, he might be home with his children today. And his case is just a stark reminder that justice delayed can become justice denied. And the cost of that systematic failure is measured not just in court records, but it comes in human lives. Every killer relies on our silence, and don't be why we have to share another story on our channel. If you know something, speak up, because that wasn't a mannequin. It never is. So until next time, stay informed and compassionate and seek justice. If anybody knows anything, the Huntsville Police Department is 256-427-7114, and they have a tip line of 256-532-7463. Hopefully they can bring Ronald home. I want to thank every one of you for coming to hang out with us tonight. I'm sorry I wasn't as smooth as I usually am. It was one of those Sundays, sometimes it happens. So I love you all. Thank you for coming. I'm hoping we might have another interesting guest Thursday night if her schedule aligns. We'll see. Remember our hashtag silence is betrayal, you guys. So till Thursday night, let's take care of each other. Look out for each other. And I love you all, and see you then. Ciao.
Rolling through the shadows where broken voices cry. See the storyteller and Doc are my ride or die. Together in this mission, never questioning why we try. The system's got its blindfold. Justice wears a mask. Telling the truth is our mission. It's all we ever ask. story remains buried. No victim is forgotten and no killer goes free. The spotlight cuts through the darkness for the entire world to see. Truth seekers who refuse to let corruption hide. Justice warriors fighting for those who can't fight. We champion the victims and their surviving families. The conspiracy of silence is being shattered by sharing the stories. Remain informed and compassionate and pursue justice daily. Keep searching for the stories they try to hide. Stay vigilant and fearless, never surrender in the fight until our spotlight shatters the silence of conspiracy. Calling out to the truth seekers, justice warriors, and trial junkies. The conspiracy of silence is exposed.